Hi, and welcome to Peterson's Hunting Adventures. Really appreciate you joining us. I'm Craig Boddington.
And I'm Tom Gresham.
This week, we're going to be taking you on a truly exciting hunt for Alaskan Dall sheep. Our hunters are Wayne Holt from Hornady Ammunition and editor Scott Rupp. Tom, how about telling the folks a little more about where we're headed?
You bet, Craig. Our hunt is going to take place in one of the best Dall sheep areas of the country, the Alaska Range south of Fairbanks. These sawtooth snow-capped peaks reach as high as Denali at 20,320 feet. It's not a place for someone in less than peak physical condition, nor anyone who's afraid of heights. This type of hunting calls for an easy-carrying, accurate rifle, chambered for a flat shooting cartridge like Jack O'Connor's favorite .270 Winchester. Now, Craig, we both hunted sheep. That area in Alaska has some really nasty country.
Well, and you've got bad weather to contend with, too, the snow and the ice, and it can be tough. In fact, it's always tough. It's just a question of how tough.
There you go.
Well, I'm sure excited to see what happens, so why don't we just head on out? Let's go sheep hunting.
The first time I ever hunted Dall sheep, wrote the legendary Jack O'Connor, those beautiful snow-white rams with golden eyes and yellow horns, was up in the glaciers around the head of the White River, near where the southwest corner of the Yukon Territory is jammed right up against Alaska. The area is beautiful and wild. For a month I did nothing but look for a great Dall head, heavy, massive, long of curl, and large of base. Now another young writer, inspired by Jack O'Connor, has come to Alaska in search of his first Dall ram. In the high country of the Alaska Range, the Dall sheep flourish, counting on their ability to flee to alpine ridges and steep rocky gorges, to escape bear and wolf, golden eagle and human. There's only one way to take a full curl ram from this primitive place, and that is to go and get him. It's no easy task, as you're about to see on today's Peterson's Hunting Adventures.
So what do we do from here?
We're going to load up and we're going to ride up to the sheep cabin. It's about a 2-hour ride, about 12 miles. We'll spend the night there, and then in the morning we'll get up and take off to the spike camp, which is about another hour ride. It's about only 3 miles, but it's pretty rough. And then we walk for about 2 hours up to a little spike camp we have up on top of the mountain where there's a little pond, and we're going to stay there and bring enough gear to spend about 4 days up there, and that's where we've been seeing all the rams up real high. But it's kind of in a big ravine right between two mountain passes. The winds aren't too bad there. Yeah. It's just a little flat spot up high that the water pools up, and it's only water there is around there. There's a little spring coming out of the mountain.
Well, I decided to go traditional. I thought that on my first sheep trip that, by golly, I should do it with a .270. So I'm shooting a Mark 77 ultralight, Mark 277 ultralight, 270, weighs 6.5 pounds. And I decided to go with 140 grain Firepoint boat tail, light mag load, coming out of the barrel about 3,100 feet per second. Shoots nice and flat. So let's see what she's doing now.
That's where you want it, right there.
That's much better. Well, it could have been worse, and I think we got it pretty well squared away now. That was the first round, and of course, if that was our point of aim, we'd have been really happy. And that one I called pretty good. It's maybe still a touch low, and I think probably go back and after you shoot, and I'll probably zing 1 or 2 down there just to make sure that I'm exactly where I want to be.
No, but that's about dead perfect when you're holding there. It's almost 3 inches high at 100 here. So.
Well, that's the point too. I mean, you look at it, basically you got a dead sheep there. You know. So what do we do now?
This is where we drop in. You can't see it now, but this is a huge basin. It's about a mile across down here. And it's all cliffs right along this edge here behind us. And there's one spot here where we can go down here. We got a little snow on the ground. That's going to make it real slick. So you need to kick your feet in when you're going down. If you fall, make sure you throw yourself backwards, kick your feet out. Just try and land on your butt and make sure that you don't go down head first, because it'd be a bad deal. Let's go.
Well, now we're going to test your resolve.
What's that?
Behold our tent.
Yeah, what about it?
See those bent poles?
Means we're sleeping outside, eh?
He didn't tear it up, he just decided to bend the poles. Well, the tent's not ripped up, so maybe we can bend the poles back and get some tape and do some hodgepodging, and hopefully it'll stand. It'll stand. It's got to stand.
Right now we're already having a lot of the experience that I was looking forward to. And we packed up here and set up a spike camp here in this beautiful basin, and woke up when it finally cleared up to get to see these mountains when the fog finally lifted and the rain finally stopped. So I've already accomplished a lot of what sheep hunting has meant to me, which is just to be in this country with the sheep. A good representative of the area is fine with me. I'm not looking for a 40-inch. I'm not looking for record book. I would just like to take a good sheep and take it cleanly.
Usually the best shot, I think, is right behind the shoulder. They'll go right down. Usually doesn't knock them down, but they'll kind of stumble and take a few steps and just stand there, and that'll bring them down. You can shoot them in the shoulder, but that tends to waste a lot more meat.
Well, what do you say we get our packs and head on up the mountain?
Well, let's go get them.
Sounds good. Some sheep over there, I think they're rams. Look like there's about 7 or 8 of them. Up top, I can see in this group there's at least 7 rams. I think there's more like 11. They're all feeding. So what we're going to do is just wait for this fog to come in here and see if we can sneak on down this ditch and get quite a bit closer. With all this snow up here, they're going to be down. Most likely they're going to be down right below the snow line. They don't want to hang out in the snow when they don't have to. So.
Yeah, neither do we.
Yeah, neither do we. It's not a whole lot of fun up here.
Yeah, why is it I think I'm going to die, Scott?
Ah, you're exaggerating. You ain't gonna die. Jack O'Connor, he's the godfather of the sheep hunters. He is reading his stuff puts you on that mountain and makes you want to do it all the more. And his descriptions of the country and of the hunting conditions that he's dealt with and the hardships that he overcame to get his sheep and the amount of work he put into it really hit home with me. It's 3:15. I'll come around here. He's facing dead on now. I can't take that shot. We'll have to wait till he turns broadside.
Okay, well, I'll let you know when I think he's getting ready to move. Okay, I think he's getting ready to turn.
I think for me, the sheep is just the symbol of North American wilderness. Sheep in all their forms, I think, are just beautiful. And the country they live in, I mean, take a look around here at this place, it's just spectacular. I don't think there's anything like it. It just has always seemed so unattainable. I've wanted to do this since I was 10 and I'm 43 now. So it's taken me a long time to get around to do this.
Got him. Yeah, that was a good shot. That was a hell of a shot.
Scott?
Shot.
That was a great shot.
Trail. Right on the
Dead
trail.
on our trail.
Dog pile.
Dog pile.
Scott!
Nice shot.
Congratulations, man. Great shot.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Shaking in
What
the
did he
cold.
range out to be?
315, 15.
300-yard shot. Didn't even have to get up today.
You just kind of laid over and stretched out.
Wow.
Man,
Right on the trail.
that was something. That was something.
That's a rifle, boy.
He's on the way back. That's the way we gotta go.
You know, sheep will charge if you get too close. Man, look at that. I've never had one let me just get this close.
What prompted Theodore Roosevelt to found the Boone and Crockett Club? The best way to understand why Roosevelt did what he did is to look back at the condition our wildlife was in during the late 1800s. Wildlife populations, especially game animals and birds, were at their lowest point in recorded history. Many species of big game were on the brink of being lost forever, including the bison and Merriam's elk. The country was booming and expanding west, following the railroad's push to the Pacific. Feeding these railroad crews meant meat, and wild game was all that was available. Our beef cattle industry was in its infancy, and market hunting was a career for many. Back then, conservation wasn't a concept in American culture. To make matters worse, There were no rules or regulations for the taking of game for food or sport, and the country's citizens hadn't yet embraced the fact that all wildlife belonged to them and was in their care. Roosevelt was a sportsman. He'd witnessed firsthand the grave condition of the West big game populations. This is what prompted him to found the Boone and Crockett Club. Nothing was being done on a national scope, and this is what the club set out to accomplish.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful.
Are they as big bodied as you thought they'd be, or?
You think of them as these just big, majestic creatures, but they're about what the size of a whitetail body weight?
Yeah.
Maybe 150 to...
He might go 200, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about whitetails, so I wouldn't know. But that's a really nice ram, real pretty. Yeah. Horns look real symmetrical, they're not broken or big chips in them from fighting. He hasn't been in the shale a lot. You can tell his hide doesn't have that gray like those ones yesterday did. Congratulations, Scott.
Thanks, man. That was a great hunt.
What kind of gun is that you're shooting there, Scott?
I'm shooting a Ruger Model 77 ultralight synthetic. Went with a time-honored 270 caliber and shooting Hornady's light mag 140 grain boat tail spire point. Shooting a Leupold scope. It's got it's 2.5 to 8, and it's got the Boone and Crockett reticle. It has 3 different aiming points, and I knew that from shooting at plates at 300 yards that if I held the second one on dead on the plate at 300, it was going to hit. So that's why I felt confident when we finally got up there that we could take the shot, even though, you know, with embedded it was a little tougher than I would imagine. But you guys at Hunt Alaska do an awesome job. I mean, we've seen sheep every day. Well, we kind of caught a break too with at least the fog gave us enough of time to get from that shale slide in the back there, allowed us to get up here where we could watch him and then, you know, wait for conditions to get better and take a shot. So
Yeah, if the fog didn't come in, I don't think we would have been able to get over here, because we would have been caught out in the open on that shale slide, and I don't think he would have let us get this close.
now tell me a little bit about the ram.
I think he's about 35 inches. I think he's 9 years old. It's real hard to tell on the rings. His horns really flare out a lot wider than average. Usually they got a tighter curl than this. They're a lot prettier when they flare out like this, I think.
Is this a pretty typical ram for the size and the age?
He's a little bit above average ram.
When will they start butting heads and getting toward rut and asserting dominance?
Middle to late November, early December is when they start doing that. But they assert dominance year round. If you watch a band of rams, you can just, if you watch lead ram, you can tell the other ones will come up and rub their horns on him. It's neat to watch him and just watch the dominant ram, how he kind of works the group of them.
Now, would this be a dominant ram at this age, or?
He could be if he was with a group of smaller rams like that one.
Yeah.
That was up here with him. But and that's why that one didn't want to leave, is because this was the dominant ram between those two, and
He wouldn't do anything until he did.
Yeah, he would wait for this guy to bolt before he took off, generally.
Yeah.
With Scott's lifelong dream achieved, the team begins the 3-hour treacherous trek back to the spike camp. Scott did it right, on the sheep's terms, the way Jack O'Connor would have. It was the perfect hunt. They arrived safely and began packing out what they packed in under sunny skies.
You know, if they gave out Oscars for shots, I think Scott Rupp has one coming for the shot of the season on the sheep. But you know, it's not because he shot it so perfectly, it's because it stayed on the trail.
Boy, and let me tell you, nobody was happier about that than the guide.
Oh, I'll bet. I'll bet.
But
Sheep
you know,
never do that.
And then did you see that thing when they got to camp? A bear had been jumping on the tent.
Man.
You know, those are really the memories that make a hunt, and I'm glad we're able to get those for this show. This is really the real stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, you know, you never know what's going to happen on a hunt in the wilderness. And folks, I hope your next hunt goes really great. And thanks for joining us.
Asa boa salatu, babarana.